Matt Cerrone from MetsBlog.com, and it's time for another video edition of the MetsBlog Mailbag. Our first question comes from Lewis in Scarsdale. He writes, how do you feel about Aaron Heilman returning to the National League and pitching for the Cubs? Well, actually, I'm happy for him. I know he's actually a really nice guy, and I know people in the team's ownership were really doing their best to accommodate him and put him in a position where he would start. That's not to say they were going to give him away, but all things equal, I think they're happy to see him move on to a place where he could start. Turns out the Mariners sent him to the Cubs, who honestly have been interested in Heilman for years. I actually lost track of the number of Heilman to the Cubs rumors that have crossed MetsBlog over the years. So he's going to a team that values him, that clearly sees him as a starter, and that's good for him. I wish him the best of luck, obviously, but just not when he's facing the Mets, clearly. Our second question comes from Anthony in Morristown, New Jersey. He writes, is there still a chance the Mets sign both Oliver Perez and Ben Sheets? As my producer mentioned, it seems like we get this question every week, and I think we do, actually, and I'm pretty sure I've answered it before, but things change every week, so let's give this another crack. It's starting to feel like a game of musical chairs with these starting pitchers. Most prominently at this point, you have Randy Wolf, Ben Sheets, and Oliver Perez, and Pedro Martinez to a lesser extent. And yet you've got 5 teams looking for pitchers. So, the market is not really, I think, going to allow for 2 of these guys to sign one place. I could see Perez returning to the Mets, obviously. It's pretty well documented at this point that he's their mark. And then maybe they look to Pedro Martinez again. Between him and Tim Redding and Freddie Garcia and John Neese, I guess that will be, your 60 or so starts from your 4th and 5th starter. And I could see at this point a team like the Rangers or maybe the Cardinals or even the Brewers at this point stepping up to try and lock in Ben Sheets. Dodgers, with Randy Wolf. So it seems like musical chairs. I don't know how one team ends up with all of them. So while I thought maybe a couple weeks ago there was a chance the Mets get both Sheets and Perez, at this point I'm starting to think that maybe that's not going to happen. Again, if you want to send a question to the mailbag, you can do so by logging on to MetsBlog.com. There's a link in the sidebar, or you can send me an email and you can track me down that way. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.